A very happy good morning to everyone present here. The future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams and the courage to pursue them across borders. Respected dignitaries, esteemed faculty members, and my beloved friends, I, Ranjan Pandey, stand before you to welcome you to this informative session. It is an absolute honor and a profound privilege to stand before you today as we gather for a truly inspiring and transformative seminar, Purpose, Passion and Patience, Career Journey from CPN to Cambridge, UK, How to Build a Global Pharmaceutical Career in Industry. Today's session is not just about professional milestones or corporate ladder climbing. It's the story of dedication, vision and relentless pursuit of excellence. We live in an era where healthcare boundaries are expanding beyond borders, and the global pharmaceutical landscape offers boundless horizons for the equipped with the right blend of science, strategy, and soul. From understanding the foundational roots of our training to navigating the rigorous standards of international research and development in world-renowned hubs like Cambridge, UK, our journey today will illuminate the pathways available to every single one of you who dares to dream globally. Now I'd like to hand over the mic to Ravindra.
I request Honorable Ma'am to felicitate Mr. Deore Sir, Founder and Director of Generic Life. I now request our Honorable Principal Sir to kindly share his valuable thoughts with respect to today's program.
All the dignitaries on the dais, the Vice Principal of our college, Dr. G. Zadov, my colleague, Dr. Deore, today's speaker, Ravindra Deore Aniket Chaudhari, then Dr. Manoj and Sachin Birari. These are all past students of College of Pharmacy, Nasik. So alumni of this college, including myself, I would say. So we were sitting like you over there. So maybe after some time you will be over here. And some of us may be here or may not be in the college. I don't know. Dr. Chaudhari has also joined. He is also an alumni of this college. So I am emphasizing this alumni is because CPN stands for some things. There is a legacy of CPN. But if you'll ask me like what is it that is so unique of CPN is, these are the students who came from semi-urban areas, some of them from rural areas, and then they made themselves. They created their own life, and I would say that in our journey of every one of us, CPN played a very important role. We remember all our teachers, we remember our seniors, we remember our colleagues, and that laid the foundation of our career. So this particular program of CPN Connect is where the alumni will be coming and interacting with you. So that's the agenda. It will be a formal presentation, some discussion, and of course informal discussion. So I welcome all of them. Every journey of them is very interesting. So that will get unfolded over here. Dr. Manoj will not be speaking today, and Sachin Birari will also not be. They are not the speakers today, but I really was very happy to see both of them coming over here because that is the spirit. And of course, we should all welcome the other dignitaries sitting over here. Mrs. Prajakta Borade Deore, and she is give her applause for their. She is in medical and scientific writing, having her own career. And then we have also Priyanka Chaudhari, and she is with ONZA and inclusive validation. So they will be also joining this forum. And in fact, Manoj, Sachin, both of them over here. We will have a kind of panel discussion also, provided questions are asked by you people. So with that, I hand over the mic to the company.
Thank you, sir. Let me introduce you to our guest of honor, Ravindra Deore, sir. Sir today is present with his beloved family. I welcome you all. Sir is a Senior Director, Global Case Management, Safety Systems, Mundipharma, Cambridge, UK. It is a matter of immense pride and pleasure to welcome back one of the distinguished alumni, Dr. Ravindra Deore from the Pharm 2003 batch of CPN. Dr. Deore has carved an exceptional path in the global pharmaceutical industry through his dedication, expertise, visionary leadership with a strong academic foundation in pharmacy and medicinal chemistry. He has built an illustrious international career spanning Asia, Europe, and global healthcare markets. Over the year, he has held key leadership positions in the medical affairs at renowned multinational organizations such as Novartis and Mundipharma, where he has made significant contributions at country, regional, and global levels. His work has been pivotal in advancing preclinical drug research, strengthening medical operations, driving innovations in medical communications, and fostering cross-functional collaboration to improve patient care worldwide. A recipient of multiple industry awards, Dr. Deore is admired not only for his professional excellence but also for his collaborative leadership, strategic vision, and unwavering commitment to the evidence-based medicine, clinical research, and better healthcare outcomes. Today, it is truly inspiring to have him back at his alma mater to share his individual and invaluable experiences, insights, and journey with all of us. Welcome, sir. I am confident that his words will motivate our students to dream big, pursue excellence, and make meaningful contribution to the healthcare profession. From Nashik to the world stage, Dr. Deore's story proves that global excellence starts right here. On behalf of our management, principal sir, and faculty members, I extend a heartfelt welcome to our esteemed alumnus, Dr. Ravindra Deore. We are honored by your presence and grateful to have you back and have you taken time for all of us. Welcome, sir.
Can you hear me? Yes. Okay, good. Just a small request. If you want to ask a question, you can interrupt me at any point in time. Okay? And you can ask in any language. When I say any language means Hindi, Marathi is also fine for me. If you are not comfortable speaking in English, please feel free to speak in Hindi or Marathi. Okay? No problem. Thank you, sir, for in such a quick time we managed to find this time to have this interaction. This is my almost 7th time I'm back to CPN after I left in 2003. And each time I came, sir always asked me, what would you like to speak on? And it's always the topic that I have to decide and come and share. And each time when I come up with a title which sounds interesting and which makes me feel that I am on that journey, which reflects on the dreams that I saw when I was here for 4 years. It is very emotional for me, so I mean. And again, as sir mentioned, there is a spirit in this place. So kids like us, when we came from villages to the pharmacy education, we came just for thinking that, okay, we will come here, we will study, we will do a B.Pharm, maybe M.Pharm, and then find a job somewhere and have a good life. But here, we started thinking differently. And if there is anyone in this college who taught us to think differently, is Milind Vagsar. At least for our times. Maybe plus minus 5 batches that I know of, everyone speaks about that. And I'm sure that legacy continued with other teachers. I think most of the teachers in CPN, they do the same thing, inspiring kids. So he taught us to think differently and not just traditionally. And that continued. That continued until even 6 months ago, I had to take a big decision in my career. I think the same spirit continues, sir, to think differently. And that's why I am here to share more about how a career can be built, how a journey can be built. Okay? Now, this is something which I have some pictures, some slides with me. Okay? This is my simple journey. I did my B Pharmacy in 2003 from here. The picture with me, the first picture is like when I came here 2.5 years ago. Okay? Each time I come, I take a picture, and with my sack with me. Okay, it's part of my anatomy, to be honest. Even today, my wife keeps complaining, "Oh, you should carry a different bag," but I always like to carry sack because I feel that I am still a student, and I still feel that I want to keep learning in my life. Okay. Then it was a very interesting time period when we were trying to pursue, let's say, either GRE or GATE or TOEFL. We were preparing hard. And if you remember those days when 9/11 happened and things changed for almost those 5-7 years when the life became very difficult for all of us to get into US. So we had to think a little differently. And all of us, like in CPN, and I was literally not preparing for anything because I got a bit of less score in GRE when I was in 3rd year. So I again had a bit of rush to give GRE in 3rd year, which I failed. Didn't get a good score. Then I thought, okay, let me finish final year and then think about masters afterwards. Okay? I was thinking of taking a gap year. Okay? But then sir insisted, "Oh, you just appear for GATE. Anyway, you are a topper, so you'll do GATE." So I gave a GATE exam. I scored like 92.77 that time. Could have got admission somewhere. Then he insisted, "Keep on giving exams." Okay. Then I kept giving NIPER exam as well, and I was ranked 47 that year. Okay. It was quite interesting. I did not expect these results, to be honest. I never thought I would do. I just used to go and appear for those exams. And then came a time, I still remember, I was having conversations with some of my seniors. There were a couple of seniors here in this college. They told me, "Ravi, there is a college called BITS Pilani. Nobody has tried from CPN yet, but you can think about it because you can fulfill the admission criteria to have 70% in all 4 years, so you can still appear for it and go for exam." It was quite tough because the entrance exam at that point in time for Pharm was very difficult. And I was also thinking in the same line, okay, I just appear for it, I don't know whether I'll get it or not. Okay? And that was the time when I met my better half, Prajakta, and she believed in me and she said that you will get it. Okay? And I don't know how, but I worked very hard for those 2 months. I studied almost every possible book that I could read because the exam was very interesting and weird, to be honest, for that time. Yeah, because they used to have lots of questions differently from, let's say, the syllabus of engineering, BSc, all kinds of syllabus they would have for entrance exam, the first entrance. The second entrance was pharmacy entrance, so it was easy, but the first entrance was tough itself. So eventually I managed to get there, 2 years of Pharmacy in BITS Pilani. And again, there was a reason why I chose a pharmacy. Okay. So my journey started in the childhood itself. When I was, let's say, 10, 11 years old, one of my uncle was doing his medicine. Okay. And those days, the companies like Cipla and Ranbaxy used to send samples at doctor's home. So when I was like 10, 11 years old, I would just open. So I barely started understanding English. Okay, for example, the reason I bought it here, there's we call it drug museum on the 3rd floor here, right? It has so many samples. And if you really open, so the thing is, I was always like, open everything, break everything, right? That's the childhood. And then see and try to, let's say, open this thing out. What's this? Can someone answer, what is this? What is this called? Product information leaflet. The entire worldwide pharma industry, when it brings a product, a lot of research, billions of dollars spent, 15, 20 years of research, ultimately is summarized here. Everything is summarized here. If you can understand this, you will crack pharmacy and you will have a bright career, I can guarantee. And my journey started when I was 11, 12 years old. Thing is that I used to read these things. Few things I could understand at that age, the rest I couldn't understand. Then I would go to a nearby primary health center, a private doctor, and ask him questions. What is contraindication? Right? What is distribution? And distribution, we don't like to distribute things. No, it's a distribution, it's a different thing, it's a drug distribution. I used to trouble them a lot. I used to trouble every pharmacist, every nurse, and every doctor that I used to meet in those years. Okay? Anyone who used to come to our home. And when the time came that I have to choose a field, I was told, and my family wanted me to be another doctor. And I had enough score that I could become a doctor. But having spoken to so many people in childhood, a couple of doctors advised me, Ravi, we can't answer most of your questions. You better do research in your life to understand all words here. And I'm giving a challenge to all of you. Go home, open any of the product information leaflet, try to read from top to bottom, left and right, and try to see how much you can understand. And believe me, 4-year pharmacy curriculum helps you understand actually each and everything that's inside. And then figure out how you want to build your career, which area. Okay? There are like 20, 30, 40 different career streams, but they all come from here. Okay? And one of the streams that I chose, after my master's was medicinal chemistry. I was very good at pharmaceutics, I was very good at pharmacology, but this one subject was quite difficult for me. I didn't know how exactly drugs are discovered, how they act in the body. I mean, pretty much in a space of pharmacology, understanding how drugs work, pharmacokinetic dynamics, with a good understanding. But still, how actually drugs at molecular level, at cellular level, at an atomic level, how things work. I always had that curiosity since childhood. And my journey when at masters, I thought I still haven't found answers to most of the questions that I had in childhood. And the only reason was to pursue PhD, and I realized that understanding medicinal chemistry is the last thing that I could do. Okay, and that's why I chose to go to Taiwan. And again, a senior came to help me. So one of our seniors, Ravindra, who was doing an MPharm here, he went to Taiwan, and after finishing his PhD, he went to Harvard for his postdoc. And he said, there's a vacancy, Ravi, if you want to come and join. Then I did a bit of research on the professor. The professor was Jiwan Chen, he's one of the famous professors in Southeast Asia. Okay? And then I went and I finished. Now, in between, as Sir mentioned, I went to work with Dr. Yadav sir, who was the vice principal here, as a lecturer in Bhopal. Okay? That was the time when we got married. For 6 months we stayed in Bhopal, and then we left for Taiwan. Now, that was one of the biggest decisions of my life, to bring a family of just 2 of us to a completely unknown country. Believe me, it was a very difficult and very tough life than we imagined. Because Taiwan is a completely Chinese country. And in 2006, we struggled to get a lot of stuff. And we can share some experiences if we have some time during interaction, but the life was very, very, very tough there. Yes, research life was easy for me because it was all working with molecules and clinical papers and research papers, right? But for family, it was a bit challenging, but we survived. And she worked in the stem cell research for 4 years while I was a student. And then my elder daughter was born, and she had to step back for a while, and then I finished my postdoc. So why I actually mentioned this, the whole journey of 14 years, it was a relentless pursuit. I was not studying to get some marks or some grades or to be a topper or to get some kind of accolade. I was trying to understand how drugs really are discovered. Because that was my initial thought. And to be honest, I really understood after 14 years. Okay? And then what happened? At the end of my postdoctoral fellowship, I was thinking what to do next. So I was having offers from Harvard and I was having offers from Scripps. I was also having an offer from Ada Nobel laureate from Israel because I was interested in the genomics part. Okay? But I decided, okay, let's not get there. I was speaking to a lot of colleagues. And then what to do next? That was a question. When I say you can read a note, I was reviewing lots of medicinal chemistry journal papers. Okay? And that's where I realized that there's a huge variation. There's a huge variation in human beings, how drugs act. Okay? And during those presentations, I was realizing it's a completely different world. I mean, we may discover drugs, we work in each individual are different. So those are the questions in my mind in those days, and a completely new set of questions. So I always say that we need to have a purpose in life. Why I gave the journey of 14 years to help you understand that I actually was thinking what is going to bring me happiness. Okay? And the only thing that would bring me happiness was to contribute through my knowledge. Okay? And through knowledge, what can I do? Not just dispense medicines, but how can we improve patients' lives? And that's something which we need to do as all pharmacists. Those days, we had a similar issue. Okay? Unfortunately, it's always medics that get more attention, doctors, right? The pharmacists are always treated as second tier. And I could see that. And the situation is same again here. But so you should say that the life is very different in the US or in the West. The pharmacists are treated equally. Okay? And for that, so you also started for us, if you remember correctly, you used to send us to the pharmacies and counsel patients. I think we were the first one to send a batch of us to some pharmacy shops. So your friends in Nashik, we used to go and sit in pharmacy shops. When a prescription came in, we used to advise patients. That's something which a hospital pharmacist or clinical pharmacist should do. Okay? So again, the value of pharmacists will be realized only when we explain how drugs work. We guide patients, we advise patients, we look for them, we hear them. So we are the part of that integral patient journey. Okay? And those days were the time when I was thinking, what's my purpose? Why should I study? Why am I learning all this? Is to eventually help improve patients' lives around me. That patient could be in my family, that patient could be in my neighborhood, that patient could be in my hospital where I work, or that patient could be the patient of the therapy area or the product that I am working in the company that I work. Right? So that purpose continued. So I would say that we should have a purpose in life. Okay? Because that's what gives us a clear direction. And that becomes a source of daily energy. Why we wake up. I mean, it should not be the case that we wake up just to catch a train or a bus to go to a job. No, there should be a sense of purpose why we wake up and for what. Okay? And that's why I said there should be a reason to get out of bed. Yeah? Second is strength. The purpose gives you strength. Because when bad things happen, it becomes easier to bounce back. Even if the career looks very great for journey, it's always with lots of challenges. Every day new challenge, especially when your roles change. Okay? So it makes you bounce back because you know that that's why I'm here. Right? Then the third thing is true happiness. I mean, I'm someone who lies on a bed and I can sleep in 3 minutes. I don't get sleepless nights unless there is some work to do. Okay? And that really helps me feel rewarding when I see the job satisfaction. When I feel that whatever I contributed today or this week in my role is helping my company, the patients that the portfolio works for. Because it's not just about chasing paycheck. It's not just about money all the time. Okay? It's about the happiness, true happiness. Are you feeling like rewarded with what you're doing? Because that's what will keep us alive. And for your generation, to be honest, it will be much easier as well. Because your generation is growing in much relaxed environment. You have lots of resources against our generation. And I can imagine the life of your generation perhaps would be even more difficult, right, in those 70s and 80s. And we could see that. So in your generation, you need to really define your purpose. You need to set your goal. Okay? That's what. And coming back to the same point, sir, I always recall my conversations with patients when I was sitting in the pharmacy. Okay? Doctors, they just prescribe medicines. They don't care, unfortunately, sorry to say. Most of the times. I'm not blaming everyone, but that's the truth. That's the harsh truth that I have experienced. Now, so that's the purpose part. The next, so the questions, after 14 years of that journey, the questions in my reading, I had a newfound passion. Okay? I was reading lots of clinical trial papers, a completely different world. So it's not a formulation development research, it's no longer a medicinal chemistry research. Okay? It was all about reading those clinical trial papers. And clinical trial paper means the phase 3 clinical trial papers, phase 2 clinical trial papers. Okay? The dossiers and the papers that help drug getting approval from US FDA in the beginning, and then around the world we get approvals. When I was reading those clinical trials, I was figuring out what exactly is the reason behind prescribing certain drugs. Is it efficacy or safety? Doctor writes a prescription, what he decides? Can someone answer? Let's say if you go and meet a doctor for an illness, what's that doctor's thing that makes them prescribe certain medicine? Can someone answer? It's efficacy. It's effective. Right? You feel that will better. So that's the efficacy part. But what's equally important is safety. If you read any clinical trial, it will have an equal reference to efficacy as well as safety. There are thousands of drugs who have reached phase 3 clinical trial, very effective drugs, but failed just because of side effects. And they never enter. Billions of dollars wasted, 20 years of research wasted, but the drug is not able to hit the market just because there was one side effect that the FDA did not accept. So apparently, that's something which I was reading a lot. And then when I was reading those papers, I realized that there's a huge variation in the clinical trial. I mean, there's fixed criteria, right, in a clinical trial. Do you know the inclusion and exclusion criteria for clinical trials are fixed? That let's say these are the 1,000 patients. Let me give you an example. Let's say there's a clinical trial of Alzheimer's disease. There are 600 in 10 different countries enrolled in a trial. Those are very fixed patients. Patients without comorbidities. Patients without lots of other problems. Because they don't want the patients to hurt more. So they're very strict criteria. And based on those strict criteria, the study is done. Now you see in the patients there is an effect. And when you see the effect is measured in a statistical terms, whether the drug is effective or not. But when I used to read the safety part, the pharmacovigilance part, the adverse events, there's a huge variation. And that's when I realized that even if we think that certain drugs work in the same way for all of us, to the same receptor or through the same target, believe me, God has made us very unique. We all have fingerprint. We are very unique. The way the drugs work inside our body is also very unique. That's why, you know what, whenever there is a study published, a drug approved in US, Japan never accepts. Japan runs their own clinical trials. They start with the lowest possible dose. They go back to phase 1 data, they go back to phase 2 data, they go back to toxicological studies, and then they decide which dose they want to start from. Because what can work in a 90 kilogram, 6 feet height American person may not work in a 50 kilogram Indian lady. Same thing cannot work in a similar way in a patient in China or Japan. We all are very unique. Yes, there are some similarities, but we all are very unique. And that uniqueness kept me questioning why this thing happened. And when I was going through my career, I also realized that the healthcare systems are different. Means healthcare system in India, the way it is way different than what we experience in Taiwan. The healthcare system in Malaysia is again different. In Singapore is different. In UK is different. So healthcare systems around the world are different. The way medicine is practiced is different. And that became my interest now. Okay, how to improve this healthcare worldwide through my roles. And I was having lots of conversations. I applied many roles. As you may see that my career is good, but I have applied for many roles in my life. I received lots of rejections. So many interviews I've gone through. Okay? But I never gave up. Thing is, that was the time after those 14 years, what to do next. And how to find now these new answers. As I said, my childhood questions were answered in those 14 years. But then lots of new questions came up in the last time of my PhD and postdoc. And then I went to find the answers. Then I was having lots of conversations with so many seniors again. Again, seniors came to help. Okay? That's why you should always value seniors. You should always keep in touch with seniors. Sir, I was very happy. After yesterday, the poster you released, maybe in just a couple of hours, I saw at least 4 or 5 boys and girls from CPN approach me on LinkedIn. They saw my profile. This is really good. Okay? You should keep in touch with seniors. You should reach out to them. So far in my life, I have been blessed. I can only say that my career is built, 50% of my career is built by my seniors. Just looking at them, talking to them, understanding, listening, okay? And rest of the 50% career is built by my family support. Mainly my wife, I would say. Because my family at home, they don't understand what I'm doing. Okay, in last 20 years, it's increasingly becoming difficult to explain them what I'm doing exactly. Now you would also realize that this is a very different and weird career path. Right? Very weird career path. So at that time, when I was finishing my postdoc, I was talking to so many people. There's a lot of things I can discuss, but one of my senior, Taiwanese senior lady, she went to join medical affairs after doing PhD and postdoc, and 5-6 years. And I said, I just want to get there because my new questions could be answered only through these roles, either medical affairs or maybe clinical R&D. And then she told me, Ravi, you are such a good medicinal chemist. Okay, you have published almost entire research in a top-class journals. Professor loves you. Professor wants to send you to pharma company to push our medicines to phase 1. Why you want to leave a medicinal chemistry drug discovery research? She said, don't go there because you will struggle. She said, Ravi, this medical affairs is owned by medics. They are all medical doctors. MBBS, MD, pharmacology, MD, PhDs around the world. And when I was looking at LinkedIn profiles, anyone in those roles that I was applying, medical advisor or medical director, you always see they are medics. And she said that from her own experience, it's very difficult to build a career in medical affairs for a pharmacist. So she said that please don't go. They will not help you grow. And I told her, I will prove you wrong. I will go and I will do my job. Okay? And that's where my passion came to help me. So it was a very difficult decision for me. So that was the second biggest decision of my life, to leave my medicinal chemistry, drug discovery, research to medical affairs. And when I joined, the proportion of pharmacists in medical affairs around the world was very low. And after 15 years, I can see the pharmacists are getting into medical affairs now. If you see some of your M.Pharm or PhD seniors in India are getting into the roles of medical advisor and medical scientific liaison, the role that I started. Okay. Now, this is something which is very busy slide, and I just put it like yesterday. I did have a slide to explain all my roles. I can quickly explain. So this is the first role that I started, and for that role, can you hear me now clearly? Okay. So this is the first role that I started. Can I speak loudly? Can you hear me in the back? Clearly, right? Okay, good. So this was the medical scientific liaison officer role for entire Malaysia and Brunei for neuroscience. Okay, for neurosciences. And that's a role which that time even India didn't have MSIs. Rarely some big pharma used to have this kind of roles. Okay? I grew to medical advisor. In less than 2 years' time, I was promoted and I was given another role, additional responsibility to launch rheumatology products in Malaysia. And then I became instantly Asia Cluster Franchise Medical Lead. That was a strict assignment which was given to me by my global seniors. So, like in less than 3 years, 10 months, I got into the global arena of Novartis. And that was the time when I won the Winning for Patients award. So I was the only one from Asia to win that award in Novartis, for which it was quite a big surprise. It was just for the work of these 2 years that I did. And that was the time when the company invited us to Switzerland, to its head office, for a family. When my elder daughter came with me to Switzerland, she was 5 years old in Malaysia. So that was quite an interesting journey, purely because, again, it was just because I was pursuing passion. I was not just doing a job, I was trying to add value, trying to solve problems of neurologists in Malaysia, the psychiatrists in Malaysia. I visited almost all psychiatry centers in Malaysia, gave so many lectures, worked on so many studies and all that. The third most important thing in these years was when I was Asia Cluster Medical Lead. So those days was quite difficult. Have you seen the clinical trials papers? That the trials are always run in US mainly. And now the trials are expanding to Europe. Nowadays they're expanding trial sites to Australia, Singapore just started. And very few sites, to be honest, very few sites in Asia. And those days I was also figuring out how migraine is managed. So I was put on one of the global panels for migraine. Okay? And I was Asia lead. I fought with Novartis Global that I want the Asia migraine trial to happen. I said the Asians are different and the migraine in Asians is different as compared to the West. So I said those trials will not work in Asia, so I want Asia migraine trial. I worked extremely hard out of my work. So these things which I am talking are always different than my regular work KPIs. Okay? I fought hard and I brought Asia migraine trial in Novartis for Asian patients to help improve Asian patients' lives. So after I left Novartis, that trial happened, the drug was marketed, and it's one of the quite decent drug for migraine in worldwide now. It's one of the blockbusters of Novartis for migraine. It's a monoclonal antibody. Okay? And those days, I know that the neurologists in India used to prescribe synthetic medicine for migraine. Even today, when I speak to some people, migraine is not treated well, unfortunately. Okay? Now again, as I'm saying, why I did that? Because it was out of my comfort zone. I had to look for epidemiology, I had to look for the pharmacogenomic studies, why Asians are different than the West, and then apply internationally to get that study done. Then came a time when I realized that my learning curve was not that great in Novartis. And there was a time when I realized that I need to make a move. Okay? And that's where the Mundipharma came to my life. In 2017, when my second daughter was born in Malaysia. So I always see it's very easy for me to remember my Mundipharma journey with my younger daughter. Okay? And so I joined as Associate Medical Affairs Director, okay, leading a small team of medical advisors and MSLs. But then if you see, it's a big surprise of my life. It's an unbelievable journey for me. Because from here, they kept on promoting me every 6 months, 9 months, 11 months. And I never applied for these roles. They just came to me, you're taking this role. Okay? Then they moved me to Singapore very quickly on a regional role. And for that, so this was only Malaysia role. this became entire APAC, Middle East, then Africa, Latin America. So anything that was not US, not Europe, was managed from Singapore for Mundipharma. And I was leading the ophthalmology and respiratory portfolio. And then within 9 months, they asked me to take care of the entire pen and CNS portfolio, which is the biggest portfolio for Mundipharma around the world. And in between, I was also dealing with gene therapy for the same region. And in 6 months' time, they say, Ravi, you have to take care of a new department. Now, I never worked in governance and operations. I always was dealing with field medical engagement, driving medical science in the field, helping doctors, helping healthcare systems to increase awareness as well as access to medicines. Because access to medicines is a big problem. Medicines are there, but access is not there. We have to break the barriers to get that access. So those roles I did almost like 5-6 years. And then the company offered me this role to move into the governance and operations. Complete different role. I had to leave my comfort zone again. Okay. So that role I got. And then eventually I was promoted in 6 months to a director role for the same area. I built a new small team in there. And then came a time in 2020, exactly at the brink of COVID time, okay, the company transformed globally. And they made a global company. This was no longer just ex-US, but the entire Mundipharma globally came together as a global company. And at that point in time, all other scientific functions were one function, but medical affairs and commercial organization didn't exist. So they asked us to build this function. And one fine day, I just got this offer of senior medical director in global medical operations. And I was asked to build that global medical affairs organization for that company. It was interesting experience because when I joined that role, I was 39. And all other people in global LD, the average age was 55, 56. So it was very difficult for me. The language is different. The language at the leadership level is completely different than what you do in the field. So it took me at least 6 to 9 months even to get to understand their language. They were always talking about hiring, firing, he's doing wrong, that, all that. To be honest, nonsense. To me, that was all nonsense. They talk about this. A lot of leaders in leadership positions don't think about the actual value that you need to bring. And the value that we can bring is only to improve patients' lives. Because that's what we exist in those roles. We don't exist to do politics in those leadership roles. We don't exist to kick people out. We don't exist to file complaints against each other in the company. Right? We exist to help each other. Because that's what I learned. And coming from these junior roles, where I was in the field for many years, I realized that leadership roles is nonsense. Literally. Because it took me at least 9 months. And I've had very serious, tough conversations with some of my colleagues, okay, peers. And that time I was like, oh, what is it? What is it? But eventually they realized. Because we were given a mandate by our CEO and a chief compliance officer and chief scientific officer to build the new organization. And there were 2 senior people and 2 junior people. 4 of us prepared a blueprint for this company's medical affairs. Unfortunately, 3 of those left. I was left alone in 2 years' time to continue building their operations. So if you see, all my roles are literally 6 months to less than 2 years before I was promoted. But this role, 5 years. Because I also realized it was quite tough for me, so I had to stabilize. And the reason why I spent more time in that role, because I wanted to see and I wanted to build a global medical affairs organization, strong and efficient. Everything that I learned throughout my life in terms of how to break bureaucracy, how to bring the decision making fast, how to have the less stringent processes, how to approve things faster, this is what I kept focusing on. And I built very simple and efficient systems. The biggest problem in any sector is getting those approvals, right? Why? Why you need 7 approvals or 5 approvals? Right? Someone at a junior level thinks this is right, and someone at senior level thinks this is right. Just do it. Why you have so many layers of approval? That's the bureaucracy, unfortunately a gift by British bureaucracy to us, which unfortunately exists around the world. Half of the world is still suffering from the British bureaucracy model that we have inherited. Okay? So that I always wanted to break. So, and that's why I spent more time. So I built the organization's core nucleus, and I kept on modifying, I kept on optimizing efforts. So there's a concept called FTE optimization, how you headcount optimization, how you do that. Okay? And I kept on optimizing that every 2 years and provided inputs to my chief scientific officer that this is how it should be in 2 years' time. Why? Because I don't want to build a fat organization and then after 5 years, a McKinsey comes in and tells you, okay, you cut this 10,000 people. Now what you hear nowadays in big corporates, if you hear, oh, 10,000 people gone. I never wanted that situation. I always wanted people around me to continue and sustain their jobs. Okay? And I help them to grow in the organization, internally as well as externally. Okay? So that's why I spent a lot of time. So after 12, 13 years of that journey, okay, I was reporting to the global head of medical affairs. And I said, okay, I can take up that role, the global head of medical affairs. But then I was told, well, you don't have US and Europe that much exposure. Okay? I don't know, maybe I'm Indian. Right? There still could be a bias. If you see all global entities in global organizations, you still see less Indians. Because the world still has a bias against us. And I'm fighting that very hard for the last 7-8 years. Okay? So there came a time now, what to do next, because my journey has almost ended. I can take care of that role. I have offers from different companies to take up that kind of role. But I declined and I said, no, I want to learn something else now. That made me think that I can take a completely different role after this 20 years. And I entered into the pharmaceuticals. Okay, and there's a reason why I entered pharmaceuticals. Okay, we'll discuss about it. But there's one thing which I always learn. Just get it done. If you really want to watch just a 2-minute video after this talk, I don't know if you can have internet, we'll play it later, we must play it. A video by Barack Obama. Just a 2-minute clip, we will run that. Okay? You just leave that, if you can just live with that whole life, I'm sure that you can solve any problem in your life. Doesn't matter in which area of life. Okay, it can be a family, it can be a social life, it can be a spiritual life, it can be a career, anywhere. If you can listen to the Obama's small speech, that helps. It says that don't wait for people to give you assignments. Don't wait for people to give you jobs. Whatever you do it in a great way. The people see you. God sees you. Okay? And things are clear. That's one video we'll play. Now, I deliberately spent a bit of more time because this journey was very tough for me. It may look very easy and fancy for everyone. Oh yeah, you're just getting those roles. Right, great. No. It was very tough for me. Okay? But that has helped me build myself as well. Okay? Why? It was purely because of my passion. Okay? And I always wanted 2 things. As I said, to understand the problem deeper. Okay? And try to find a solution to ensure that the patient's needs are addressed. Okay? And in companies, in healthcare system, there are always lots of layers, as I mentioned. Okay? Where a patient is facing problem in the clinic, is facing now. If a doctor wants some information from company, it should be provided in, let's say, maybe 24 hours. But the processes are very stringent. Can we make it faster? That's always had. And I built to a company's global medical information call center, which became an example. Okay? And why I say that one should be passionate about career, because that's what keeps you focused. Okay? And that's what, when there are longer tasks, tough tasks, you spend more time and you put your hard work, and that's what boosts your energy as well. That you are trying to solve some problems. Okay? It also sparks creativity if you are passionate. If you are not passionate about your field, you will never be able to come up with some new ways of solving problems. There's always a way to solve any problem. And again, it also helps you reach higher goals and to do a bit better work for you. So that's the element of passion that I would say. Now I'll move to the third part, which is patience. Okay? As I said, it was always about, can you hear me now? Good. Can you hear me now? So, the purpose, passion, and then the patience. And as I said, why patience? Because that's why we exist. That's why our profession of pharmacy exists. In whatever role we are, we should help improve patients' lives. Okay? That's why you see that I almost spent my entire career around patients. Okay? Are you able to hear? Yes. Good. So if you can see, I have a bit of more description on this slide. But new drugs and formulations is something which I spent a lot of time doing in my bachelor's, master's, understanding. Even also projects in BITS Pilani I was doing. I was also with IPCA for 6 months doing a sustained release product development. So that I fully understood, and then I understood safety and efficacy. But I was also working on the medical education, access and outcomes. Sachin, you mentioned about some of your family members are working in health economics. So I worked on lots of health economics and outcomes works in Asia, worked with Korean healthcare system, Japanese healthcare system, Malaysian healthcare system, how to improve health outcomes and doing that kind of research and improve access. So those kind of work that I did. And as you can see, I always wanted the processes to be faster. So in terms of solution systems processes, where I spent last almost 7 years of my life, or 6 to 7 years to be precise. So all that is a bit busy slide. This is literally one slide in snapshot. I would say in all 4 different areas of business, work across different therapy areas. Okay, there's almost 7 to 8 different therapy areas. But one thing which made me proud in the last 4 years was, it's a very big slide. I would say that I actually consolidated almost 11 global call centers into one call center and made an efficient machine. Plus, I launched one CPN tool in 45 countries in just 2 years' time. Okay? And not just commercial CRM, but medical CRM. A commercial CRM is a tool where all our MRs, when they go out, or sales representatives, when they go out and do calls, they archive their daily calls. So all our sales people who go out in the field, I think some of you will be in sales in the future, right? When you go out and when, let's say in a day there's a target, then you have to meet 6 doctors, or 8 calls, or 6 calls you have to make. All those calls need to be logged into a system. And that's where your daily work is tracked. Unfortunately, medical affairs work was never tracked. I forced my company to track medical affairs work, and we got into launching that around 45 markets. And then we were doing a lot of other stuff. That's why I say I was very proud of a few projects that I did in the last 5 years, which I can showcase at a global level. And the work that I've been doing recently around patient centricity as well helped me invite. In London, I have given at least 3 to 4 talks in the past 2 years. And I've been invited for many lectures just for some of the projects that I did in the company, plus transformation of company's culture. Why I say company's culture? Because every organization wants to just achieve profits, right? That's why every business exists. But in the process of that, getting profits, what we lose is the focus on the real patients. Because every CEO just wants to earn money. And they may ignore patients. And they may ignore the actual value that needs to be added. And unfortunately, this happens in many companies. They only focus on profits. And sometimes there is a phase in company's life when the patient is lost. So in the past 3 years, I was leading one of the projects with my global medical head on patient centricity, how to bring patient at the center of everything that we do. If any employee, doesn't matter in which area of pharma company they work, production, R&D, distribution, supply chain, even IT, even compliance, even pharmacovigilance, R&D, regulatory, or even if, let's say, there are teachers here, your students will become a pharmacist in the future, in whichever role you work in healthcare sector, we should always think about patient first. That's the patient centricity which this kind of work we launched a couple of years ago, and then that's actually helping me a lot. Because we have changed, we have done a cultural transformation in the company, and we could bring the patient in the center. Okay? And that's why I said this is the third biggest decision of my life. I have taken a huge risk by moving from medical affairs. Because people say, oh Ravi, you're doing such a great job, why you want to leave? You can get any other big role in the same company or even in another company. But there's a reason why I moved. Maybe in 2-3 years time I'll be able to come back and share why I took that move. So I would say that it's all about purpose, passion, and patience. People may see that, oh, he's so successful. But believe me, there have been so many failures in my life. In life, in general, in career, in every decision that I was taking. So I like this iceberg. I'm sure you would have seen this again and again. Okay, what people see is success. But what people don't see is the hard work, dedication, I would say disappointments and failures. At the same time, we sacrifice so many things. When I talk about failures and disappointments, believe me, every day there will be some kind of disappointment in our life. Right? Even at the family level, even at society level, government level, wherever you go, you have disappointments. But you just need to forget it. And the only thing that is the purpose of your life. Okay? That's the last slide that I had. And I just wanted to end with this slide. I just added a couple of pictures last night. So life is not just about him. I could see that a lot of faces became very serious when I was having this stuff. But it's all about, hobbies are equally important. We used to play a lot of cricket. Sir knows that we used to play, even when Manoj sir, I saw him, he knows that we used to play a lot of cricket here. We were always in the backyard, or at the Shiva, Baba, those restaurants, and of course studying hard as well. Anyone remembers this? Anyone knows this? This is Lord's table. Okay? I just went there for a small trip with one of my global medical affairs heads. This is my garden. I have certain goals for that garden, hopefully in the next couple of years. These are bottle gourds in my garden in Cambridge. My younger daughter, we're doing some gardening. We're doing it together. Culture and spirituality are equally important. Okay? And believe me, we are very lucky to be born as Indian. Okay? And I can say that very proudly after moving and staying in many countries. After seeing many countries, I can say that our culture is the best. But there are so many improvement areas for us to really say proudly, yes, we are the best in the world. We are not there. There are reasons, because we were invaded. Our education system was destroyed. Our culture was destroyed. And your generation, our parents and grandparents' generation, we all have to work 3, 4, 5 generations very hard to bring the glory back. So it's not just a one generation time that we can achieve. So the culture is very important. We need to preserve our culture, and we will be able to preserve our culture to practice it. Okay? And that's why you can see like we do Diwali together. So 2 years ago when we moved from Singapore to UK, Aniket, who's going to be partnering me now in the next session, he is also in UK. And they invited us for Diwali, and this you for the poster design by you. I saw you serving tea for all of us as well. That's how we maintain our culture in the UK. This is just a picture from 3 weeks ago in Cambridge, when we had Cambridge India Day celebrations. So we try to preserve our culture. The reason why I say we are the best culture in the world, because we have a spiritual connection with our gods. We need to identify that connection. And the earlier you identify, the better for you. With that, I will end my talk. Thank you.
To me as well, so obviously to the students it must have been very inspiring. So, excellent talk.
Another question from my
Yes.
end. As you are reading so many research articles with respect to clinical trials, so when you are reading outcome of FDCs which are conducted in India versus abroad, what is your opinion about?
Are you talking about the actual clinical
Actual
trials?
clinical trials, yeah.
See, the thing is, 20 years ago, a lot of Indian small startups, they started venturing into this. Unfortunately, Indian pharma is still a generic pharma. They're still only focusing on coming up with the new generic formulation, getting it approved, and selling worldwide or in India. They're not focusing on having the core clinical trial phase. The clinical trials are still led by Europe and US. And the big corporates, they do funding. The only thing that we are having in India is maybe some kind of toxicological studies. Nowadays they're growing. Okay? Slowly we need to build that. We need to have more Indian population in the clinical trials. Okay? I think the quality of trials is very important. The quality of the data is equally important. There should be less hope for manipulation. This is one thing all of you remember. You're all in final year, right?
Yes.
Don't ever manipulate anything in your journals. Don't manipulate in your research. Whatever is the outcome, defend that outcome in front of your teacher. Literally. Keep doing that. If you're getting into a higher degree, don't manipulate. Manipulation is one of the biggest enemy. Okay? And unfortunately, in all walks of life that we see around us in different sectors, try to do less manipulation. If we do that, the quality of our data will go up, and the world will focus a lot on India. That's one part. Second, it's a good news that when I was applying for jobs, there were not so many offices in India, but now every big corporate is building offices in India as service centers. Okay? Novartis, quite big in Hyderabad now. Okay? Again, very interesting part. This is something which I learned over the period. Novartis' current CEO is Indian origin. The Chief Medical Officer, Shriram Aradhe, is also Indian. And I had a chance, when I won the Winning for Patients award, I was picked up as a global talent by Novartis, and I got an opportunity to spend time in person with Chief Medical Officer of Novartis. I'm still in touch with him, okay? And he keeps inspiring me. But why I'm saying this? These two people, they went abroad, they built their career. Now people may say that, well, they left India, they're doing great career there, what are they doing for India? No. In the past 7 years, they brought billions of dollars to India through investment. They have opened the centers. Okay, now there are at least 10,000 people in Novartis Hyderabad providing a service center. They are the ones who are taking care of this data for trials and studies. Now, how many centers in India we can develop is another story. But the Novartis story I just wanted to explain, and there are other companies opening up their offices. So the opportunities are coming up a lot, for sure. There are definitely more opportunities in this area. Hope I answered your question to some extent. Any questions? Yes.
First of all, very warm welcome to all of you, sir, and a very good morning to all of the guests here, the respective teachers, respective principals, sir. who provide us this great opportunity to interact with you, respected ones, sir. So, first of all, let me be sorry if I was not able to manage ask what I want to ask in respectful manner, sir. Sir, we heard about your great journey, sir. We are all really glad to know about that, sir. But to be honest, let me tell you, sir, what we want to know is, sir, that how, when, and why. We are more curious about that, sir. I'm a final year student, sir, and almost I have interacted with every person who is present here, sir. You mentioned, sir, have a purpose in life, sir. Have a great purpose, sir. To be honest, sir, let me tell you, the purpose of every person here is, sir, to crack a very top examinations and get a good college and have good package, sir, after that. So this is what I have seen in the past 2 years, sir. Sir, but what I believe, sir, that is throughout the journey, sir, our purpose changed, sir. Like if I am considering my journey from my class 10th and to in this final year, sir, as you already are known different types of whatever we are going to face in our future, sir. Sir, I want you to connect what I want to ask, sir. So please let us suppose if you are getting a chance to start from the final year, what would be the most field or the most, it would be a skill, sir, it would be any kind of skill or whatever, sir, it is. What would be the most thing you would like to put your focus or potential on so that it would help us in future, sir, or it would be most important for us? Sure.
When you say that you are in final year, I immediately went back to 2003. Okay, when I was there, and I was facing quite tough time in those days. As I said, I had less GRE score, and I was constantly reaching out to sir, what to do next. Okay, if you can't figure out, you just go out and talk to your teachers and some of the seniors. You will find the way. The only thing that you have to do day in, day out is put your effort. You know, you are a student. Just follow the student dharma. आपण जे धर्म म्हणतो ना, विद्यार्थी धर्म पाळायचा, अभ्यास करायचा, अप्लाय करायचं, एंट्रन्स द्यायच्या वेगळ्या वेगळ्या, आणि जिथे राहायचं असेल तिथे ऍडमिशन मिळवायचं, तिथे पुन्हा तोच पाठवण करायचा. देयर इज नो शॉर्टकट टू इट. थिंग विल ऑटोमॅटिकली कम आउट. अगदी बरोबर. ऍक्च्युअली सर, मी तुम्हाला याकरता पुन्हा पुन्हा थँक्यू म्हणतो, कारण तुम्ही नॉट एक, आणि आजही तुम्ही जेव्हा एक रवीला आणि अनिकेतला इथे बोलवलंय, तेव्हा मला माहिती की तुम्हाला यांच्यातनं आणखीन रवी आणि अनिकेत घडवायचे. कदाचित आमच्यासारखे लोक करिअर करतीलच, पण मे बी ते करिअर कितपत इम्पॅक्टफुल असेल ग्लोबली किंवा आपल्या क्षेत्रासाठी माहिती नाही, है ना. मे बी आय बिल्ड अ लाईफ फॉर माय फॅमिली. Maybe through my role, I'll help my companies earn their profits, or maybe from some systems I'll help from healthcare systems. Depends on which role I go in the future. But तुम्ही जो impact create केलाय तो unbelievable. फक्त एक रवीसाठी नाही, पण अशी खूप असंख्य मुलं आहेत ज्यांना तुम्ही इन्स्पायर केलंय, गाईड केलंय. Coming back to answer your question, okay? You follow your dharma of student. Keep working hard. There is no shortcut. Try to have that curiosity. The more you talk to your seniors, so always remember you talk to the seniors who are at least 2 to 5 years ahead than you. And maybe once in a while, if you are able to get a chance to speak to people like us, that's perfectly fine. But they are the ones who will be your torch bearers, the ones that are just ahead. Okay? And apart from the scientific knowledge that you are getting from books, focus on soft skills. Learn on presentation skills. Learn on your analytical skills. Do some extra courses. I mean, don't just do a course ki ha me ha certification course kela ki mala ek package milegal. Don't think about that. Okay? Don't think like that. The more knowledge you gain, it will be your power. And in the era of AI, believe me, the AI is going to trouble all of us a lot. Stay authentic. Okay? Use AI minimally. You have to use, but use it minimally. Okay? And focus on other soft skills, including people-to-people connection. How to connect with people. How to connect with your peers in your class. And one thing I would say, help each other succeed. If you help others succeed, you will succeed. I have literally 20 stories with me. I can say proudly that I have helped them and they helped me. So if somebody was my direct report, I helped them and I became a better manager. That's the journey. So help each other succeed. Talk to seniors. Just keep working hard. Things will shape up. Don't give up. The song from Durandar I like, Destiny. Okay? You hear that song again and again and you realize what's the meaning of that song. Okay, don't give up.
So that 2-minute video.
Oh yeah, the 2-minute video. If you can get Wi-Fi, maybe in between.
Wi-Fi.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
It's nice. The question was really good for a lamba teacher. But it was nice. Open up. And as Ravi said, it is the interaction between student and teacher matters. On behalf of teachers, I would say that we are always open. You should also come out. So, can we move to Aniket?
I'd like to welcome Mr. Aniket Chaudhari. Today we are honored to welcome Mr. Aniket Chaudhari along with his family, our alumni and 2004 batch pass out. Now a biomanufacturing leader, has nearly spent 2 decades in bioprocessing with careers spanning industry giants like Novartis, Roche, Dr. Reddy's and now at Lonza Biologics in UK. Sir currently leads the Lonza's MSAT team, known for solving problems and translating complex bioprocessing successes into seamless executions. I would now like to welcome Mr. Aniket Chaudhari and share his insights with us. Please give a round of applause.
Can you see my slide? No? Okay, that tells me you all are awake. Good afternoon. Myself Aniket Chaudhari. I am a 2004 batch pass out from Pharmaceutical. You heard about Dr. Ravi's success story and he left us with a question, success or failure. I'll start from there. And before start, actually, Mele ma'am talked to me and she said, can you talk about some soft skills? So I'll start with time management. I'll put timer for myself. That's the 10-minute timer and after that you can stop it. I have a failure story, not success story. You might have heard a lot of success stories. I'm not a successful person at that now, and that makes me hungry for success. Start with my 12th. I did well in 10th and I didn't do quite well in 12th. I was a failure in my Khandan. I was a failure. Fortunately, that time there was CET exam and I got into college pharmacy. I got coached, mentored by many professors and my seniors, and that basically shaped my career in industry. When we talked about seniors, why seniors are important. Every one of you will face failure in your life, and from failure you need to learn how not to fail again. And you don't need to learn from your own failure. That is why seniors are there. You can look at their failures. Unfortunately for me, my seniors were great. They didn't fail. They didn't share their failure story. So I had to fail. And I had to learn from my own failure. In college pharmacy, I did well for 4 years. I wasn't a great student. I was a topper. I was in top 10. I'm proud to say that. So I'm not taking much.
You have that.
No, I'm aware that everyone is hungry. I don't know everything. Right? So I did well in my pharmacy. When I came to final year, I failed again. I didn't do well in my day. Again, fortunately, I had exam in UDCT. I got into UDCT, did my masters in bioprocess technology. And from there, I didn't stop. So important thing what Ravi mentioned about is, you can fail, you can learn, but never stop, never give up. That's the attitude. So we talked about two soft skills here. One is time management, and another one is attitude. It is okay to fail, but it is not okay to stop when you fail. You have to keep on going. That is important. I did my master's and then got selected into Dr. Reddy's lab. Did research in Dr. Reddy's lab for about 7 years, and that is where I met my better half, Priyanka. And she coached me, she taught me a lot of interpersonal skills. So I must give her a lot of credit for that. I spent my 7 years. In that 7 year, the first success that we achieved was we launched a monoclonal antibody biosimilar. That was the first launch in the world, and I was part of that. We both were part of that. That is where I got my purpose of life, which Ravi got, and it's very important. When you know the purpose of your life, you will succeed. Until then, basically you asked, one of the students asked, what, when, where. I didn't know anything, what I want to do, until I completed my graduation. I didn't have choice. I did pharmacy. I didn't have choice.
Ritual, coming to Nashik, messaging Ravindra sir, and trying to find time slot. This time I said to sir, that Sir Aniket is also here. Okay, maybe we can bring him. And I just messaged him just 3 days ago that can you come? And you can imagine within 72 hours, like arranging everything from time to the time slot, and that too in view of the demise of his grandfather, American grandfather, just a few days ago. The day he landed, he heard the news, and yet he came. So I want to thank him for that as well. And we can pray for his grandpa. His soul rest in peace and find another great purpose in the universe. So thanks Aniket for coming. You don't have to judge people by how they speak and all that, but he's doing an amazing journey. He has taken a completely new challenge, the biologics. Believe me, all of us, when we're talking about small molecules, tablets and capsules, the world was preparing in a different direction, and very few Indians are in that space. He's way ahead than many people already in that field. And working with biologics, working with cells, working with proteins is very difficult, very challenging. Okay? And that's how I think we should really appreciate him for that as well. Yeah. Now I think we can have a bit of interactive session on how to build an international career. As you can see, we have built an international career. Maybe we can ask some questions.
You can have questions for Aniket, and then we have got 2 more speakers for a short while. Questions for him?
Why not all of them sit here?
Aniket चा काही प्रश्न विचारायचा आहे?
Together
we can have.
I just had a question for all of them.
एक पूर्ण CPNच्या आपल्या नवीन येणाऱ्या पिढीसाठी पुढे जसं रोजगारमध्ये नवीन ऑपॉर्च्युनिटीज त्याच्याबद्दल थोडंसं so that they can
I always hear in India that there are no jobs. That's not true. There are a lot of jobs available, and we need manpower. When I joined Lonsa in 2019, that time my head of the department flew to India. I joined from Singapore, but after 2 months, basically he flew to India. He interviewed people here, and then he recruited about 9 to 10 people from India and got them there. That means there is shortage of skilled people. Yeah, there are a lot of jobs available. Having said that, if you don't have skills, you won't get that job. Don't just wait for jobs to come to you. You have to develop those skills. That's where what Ravi said is important. Develop soft skills. You will learn about pharma, biologics, or molecules, proteins from book. You won't learn about the soft skills from the book. You develop those skills, jobs will come. There are a lot of jobs. After graduation, I will say, go for higher education, masters or PhDs, develop your skills, get some experience, be it in industry or in academics, and then you apply for global career as well. There are a lot of global companies. I work in Roche, I work in Novartis, Lonza, there are Amgen, many more like Bayer. They are opening their centers in India as well. So Novartis has opened their center in Hyderabad, Amgen in India as well. Lonza have opened a global capability center in Hyderabad. A lot of jobs coming your way. Just develop those skills, get some experience, industry, or even when you have couple of months off after your graduation, don't stop. You can get work experience for those 2 months. That will help you. Or being once it started, basically, a lot of graduate students went to pharmacy and then educated patients as well. That was work experience for most of us. That's important. Mr. Sachin is here. He's an entrepreneur. I'm sure if you reach out to him, you don't feel offended. He will definitely help you. Or Manoj is there. I'm there. You don't need to remember anything about me, what I did, where I worked, and all. You just need to remember my name, LinkedIn, reach out to me, and then
Sorry, I joined little late. So I quickly I'll introduce myself. So I am Sophil Bandari. I'm the founder and CEO of B&W Biotech. Actually, I did BCom here and then MTech from University Mumbai, just like you. So I worked in companies like Psyche Pharma, all. So here, what we are trying to create here the ecosystem of Indian, the manufacturers for India. So during COVID time, we saw a lot of trend in the supply chain of the single use. So basically, we manufacture the bioreactors, the assemblies, various different mixing bags, holding bags, and even now we are taking bet on the downstream as well, the TFF and Pharm. So I just want to understand how is the ecosystem in Europe works, and can we do something if we can get some the market exposure in Europe?
definitely. And congratulations for starting your own. So ecosystem in Europe. Basically, in Europe, as you may be aware, there is a lot of rules and regulations. For any single use to get into market, you have to have a lot of qualification done first. And unfortunately for basically we are a little late in the market. There are leaders in the market like Cytek, who have captured the market, and now we have to penetrate that market. That is a bit challenging. And say that it is not impossible. We can still do it as long as we produce quality product and we have all the documentation in place, qualifications, and there is no shortcut, only hard work. The overall perception for Western country is when they look at India market or China market, they think that the quality is not good, there is a shortcut, and we people need to change that perception. We are doing great thing in the market. We are doing all the hard work that is needed, qualification and getting all the necessary approvals from local agency or global agency which is there. Even one of our seniors who have ventured into this single use such institution.
So I know him. He is my mentor. We compete in this market itself. But yes, I know him.
So he's there. He's doing good.
So the
there's
idea
farming,
is,
right?
can we set up a small manufacturing in Europe and then we get a start?
Yes, that would be a good way forward, I'll say, rather than manufacturing locally and then supplying into Europe or US market. If you have a manufacturing setup in Europe or in US, that will be little easy if you want to enter into European or US market. I have one of my friend who is into single use. He's a consultant in Europe, so I can connect you with him, and then that might help.
Because I have been part of so many mergers and acquisitions, and I have dealt with lots of complexity around how these things work, especially when a company comes up with, let's say, if you want to establish a unit in, let's say, a unit in Europe, you will have to find local partners. That's one. Second, you need a solid backing of investors, someone who can help you do that. Third, you need to be prepared for 3 to 5 year battle to ensure that everything goes well until your revenue starts coming from that place. Okay, so it's a long journey. It's not a short. You have to be prepared for all that. And fourth thing, you have to have your value proposition. What difference that you are going to add? Otherwise, there are so many players nowadays. Intellectual property violations are on the rise. Tomorrow you may have a good idea, someone else may just steal it. Unfortunately, West does it very effectively. So you will have to be very careful on that as well.
Fortunately, we have our own IP also, and I am currently establishing facility in Argentina. So just targeting Latin markets at present, and then European players like that.
You talked about competition.
Yeah.
So as long as there is healthy competition, it's very good. I would also encourage collaboration because you would be competing in Indian market, but when you want to go to European or US market, it's better to collaborate and after that market rather than individually try to buy. So there are many ways, but yes, what you said is right. If you have a setup in Europe or US, it is relatively easy when you have a setup here and then try to interact that.
And fortunately, we could able to manage 1 or 2 orders from the US, but for non-critical, like doctors. But the point is, people are accepting it as long as we have enough kind of quality attributes.
There are many challenges, and that is where basically it is helpful for students as well. So it's talking about entrepreneurship, supplying single-use bags for buffer preparation or any other thing, to industries. You can supply, but industry look at various different things: quality, supply chain, assurance that you will be able to supply for next few years, and there won't be any delay. So that's where you all come into picture. Some of you may be working in supply chain down the line, or maybe in the marketing or sales, and you can help the entrepreneur here. So yeah, that supply chain bit is more important because industries want to have a reliable supply. If industry place order with you and they don't get supply after a couple of months or a year, you lose trust, and trust is very important.
Then I started my career in sales only, and then somehow got into actually.
माझा क्वेश्चन असा आहे की रवींद्र सरांनी आता सांगितलं की आपण एआयचा कमी वापर केला पाहिजे, पण आता एआय इंडस्ट्री तर वाढते, का एआय कमी यूज केला पाहिजे? जर आपण एआय शिकला आणि जर ते इम्प्लिमेंट केलं इंडस्ट्रीमध्ये तर मग आपल्याला एक थोडंसं, तर मग आपल्या इंडस्ट्रीला काय गरज आहे याची? आणि जर सर म्हटले मिनिमल यूज करा, तर मग त्याचं मागचं कारण काय असं?
एआयचा मिनिमल यूज, जिथे जिथे ह्युमन इंटेलिजन्स अफेक्ट करणार एआय तिथे कमी यूज करा. जे तुम्ही जर तुमचा थेसिस लिहायला एआयचा वापर करणार असाल तर यू आर ॲट लॉस. ओके, तुम्ही तुमचा प्रोजेक्ट सबमिट करायला जर एआयचा जास्त वापर करणार असाल तर यू आर ॲट लॉस, बिकॉज यू आर नॉट डेव्हलपिंग दॅट स्किल सेट. AI चा वापर तिथे मिनिमल म्हणतोय मी. That's one. Second, somehow the world is designed in such a way that the AI and the social media is becoming like integrated parts. कळत नाही आपल्याला, है ना? आपलं लाईफ कसं मोबाईलवर निघून गेले कळालं सुद्धा नाही, है ना? सोशल मीडिया आपल्या देशाचा अत्यंत प्रोडक्टिव्ह वेळ वाया घालवतोय, है ना? वेस्टमध्ये एवढा सोशल मीडियाचा वापर नाही, भारत अननेसेसरीली वापर करतोय सोशल मीडिया. सो स्टे अवे फ्रॉम इट. सर AI स्लोली विल कॅप्चर दिस थिंग्स. ओके, राहिला प्रश्न आपल्या क्षेत्रांमध्ये जे AI येणार आहे त्याबद्दल आपल्याला संपूर्ण नॉलेज पाहिजे, नो डाऊट. तिथे जर पूर्ण AIचा वापर करणार असाल आणि अनिकेत सांगेल की AIचा वापर मॅन्युफॅक्चरिंग त्या साईडला, क्वालिटी साईडला, व्हॅल्युएशन साईडला कसा होतोय, मी माझ्या साईडला सांगतो की मेडिकल इन्फॉर्मेशनचे जे सोल्युशन्स आहेत त्याच्यातलं फार्माकोव्हिजिलन्स, ग्लोबल केस मॅनेजमेंट, तिथे 10 स्टेप्स आहेत मॅन्युअली करायला लागत आहेत सिस्टममध्ये. त्या 10 पैकी जर 5 स्टेप एका गोष्टीने होणार असतील तर आय एम हॅपी टू ट्राय. In the past 3 years, I have tried so many AI solutions. Okay, very minimal success. Mark my word. 5th of August 2026. Very minimal success. Okay, it's not going to be that successful. Yes, there will be some areas, some aspects of industry, maybe software industry or other parts, where AI may help, but not everywhere. So rather than AI, I would divert your attention to automation. Automation still has a huge role to play. And that will keep on happening. Okay? And maybe you can share from manufacturing and biology.
I'll not say don't use AI. I'll say use it wisely. Because if you don't use it, somebody else will use it. And you will be left far behind. मला कोडॅकची स्टोरी तर माहितीच असेल की कोडॅक कॅमेरा फिल्म बेस्ड कॅमेरा होता आणि they decided not to enter into mirrorless camera किंवा digital camera and now they are phased out. If you don't change yourself according to time, you will be late.
Nokia.
You have to use AI. There is no doubt about it. But how you use it, that is more important. Sir, earlier सांगितलं की if you use AI to generate all your reports, किंवा तुमचे जर्नल्स लिहिण्याकरता वापराल आणि if you don't know, if you don't learn anything from it, there is no point. You will still generate information, you will still print lot of journals and all. पण त्याच्यातून तुम्ही काय शिकता? लर्निंग, अनलर्निंग अँड रिलर्निंग. तुम्हाला AI वापरायचं असेल, मॅन्युफॅक्चरिंगमध्ये सुद्धा AI एंटर करतात, आमच्या इंडस्ट्रीमध्ये सुद्धा AI ने एंटर केलेलं आहे. We used to write lengthy email earlier. Now AI is writing it for us in 10 seconds. You don't need to draft emails. But can AI replace human intelligence? AI त्याची इन्फॉर्मेशन आलेली ती आपल्याकडूनच आलेली. There is certain limitation to it. If you don't use that information and make your own conclusion, AI can make any conclusion out of it. Right? The ground is wet, you can say it rained. But is it always the case? The ground is wet? No. Is it always rain? No. But AI can still give that conclusion. Now the ground is wet because it is wet. That is not true. So you have to use AI. But give it a human touch. Use it wisely.
I can give quite interesting example of AI, and both of us have used it. So I saw he and his family using Rotimatic. Okay?
Yes.
The Rotimatic. Okay. Yeah. So the Rotimatic is the machine which I was known that there's automation and there's a bit of human touch required. Okay? And that machine can be used. So we also bought it in Singapore. We shipped it to UK. It's been 3 years. It's been almost 1,000 days. But sorry to say, we used it only on 50 days. The rest 950 days it has to be project who still makes rotis and maybe I help her. Okay. The thing is, the problem with this is that you get attracted to it. Okay, even in your space now you get attracted to an AI solutions very instantly and you want to start using it. But remember, human in the loop is required all the time. Just last week I was in Pune office. I stopped one AI solution instantly. I got it approved from my global. Then I want to stop the usage of this AI tool. Okay, and we stopped it. Because people who were working for 8 months on that tool, they said their work got it. Because AI was constantly making mistakes. Okay, and in the healthcare field, when you ask one question now, the AI will generate an answer. Okay, and after 10 minutes, you ask a similar question, just change one word, the answer would be very different. Now, if let's say there's a patient reported an adverse event, okay, that adverse event needs to go into narrative. That narrative will be submitted to healthcare authorities around the world. Now, each time you just change one word in the entry, the narrative changes. And the outcome may change, which you don't want. Right? So what I'm trying to say, there will be, AI will help, depends on which sector. Healthcare, I don't see that much. There will be some certain areas. But as this is something which we have shared journey of Routimatic, to be honest. And that has been a pathetic journey of using Routimatic. It's literally occupying space in our kitchen now. It's not in use because it troubles us. It wastes time. Something that can be done in 20 minutes. The flavor that all of us like when she cooks is not the best roti that it makes, and you have to have that attention. So the human in the loop is always required. We think, oh, it will take up our job. No. Or it will save us time. Not necessarily all the time. Same thing applies everywhere. Okay? So there is a push for AI. That's why I said in the last 3 years I have tried some AI solutions in a company. Not all work. Little bit of enhancement here and there. But again, you need a human in the loop all the time. Always remember, you will need a human in the loop. Okay? 2 things. Yesterday the poster was created for our listing, right? I don't know who created, but the pictures that you downloaded from LinkedIn have been deformed to some extent that it's not me or it's not Aniket, to be honest. Okay? That's one. Second, okay, and then we try to use that quite a lot nowadays. Yeah, and when I say AI, I means like AI in all parts, like imaging and editing and other areas. Aniket at least looks like Aniket. I don't know what it means, but that's how things will shape in the future. So I say it's okay, use it minimally. Use it minimally and see what's the value in it. Okay?
I think we'll have to close. छान चालू आहे, तुम्ही पण खूप छान ऐकताय. जे 2 आहेत त्याचा फक्त AI वर किंवा याच्यावर कमेंट घेऊया. मिसेस देवरे.
AI वरती जर बोलायचं झालं तर रोटीमॅटिकचं एक्झाम्पल इज अ परफेक्ट एक्झाम्पल इन आवर डे टू डे लाईफ. बिकॉज जेव्हा त्यांनी रोटीमॅटिक घ्यायचं ठरवलं तर मी म्हणले की यू कॅन ऑपरेट इट. ओके, वेन माझा टर्न येईल देन आय विल मेक माय ओन रोटीज. ओके, और रोटीज फॉर यू. पण नाही घ्यायचं रोटीमॅटिक. बट दॅट इज बिकम व्हेरी डिफिकल्ट फॉर हिम. Very, very tough. And he always tried to be like, oh, I'm busy, I have calls now. तू आता बनव पटकन पोळ्या. असं. म्हणजे त्याच्यातनं बाहेर पडायचंय. मग मी म्हणले की ते जागा अडवते घरामध्ये. है ना, त्याला एक तर बाहेर काढा. मी तिथे दुसरी गोष्ट ठेवते. है ना, किचन प्लॅटफॉर्म वरती अननेसेसरी स्पेस. आणि एक दिवशी आम्ही ट्राय केलं की नाव one day we wanted to make 10 rotis. So he said, okay, I'll turn on my rotimatic and I'll start making rotis. And you start making rotis on tawa and all traditionally. तर माझ्या रोट्या बनवून किचन क्लीन डन. He was still there, finding that one ball, ना, one stuck. So हे AI आहे. आपल्याला जेव्हा हवं आहे तेव्हा वापरायचं आणि जेव्हा त्याची गरज नाही, जसं अनिकेत म्हणाले की यूज इट वाईजली. Don't replace or don't try to replace it with humans. Human interventions are always important and necessary in certain areas, especially healthcare industry.
Hello everyone. Me Priyanka Chaudhari, Aniket Chaudhari's wife. I also work in Lonza. मी मास्टर्स इन बायोटेक्नॉलॉजी केलं आहे मुंबई युनिव्हर्सिटीतून आणि देन आय वर्क इन डॉक्टर रेड्डीज देन आय मूव टू सिंगापूर रॉश अँड नाव आय इन लॉन्झा. इनिशियली आय वॉज वर्किंग इन मेथड QC stability and at least testing. So me तिथे as a people manager काम करते. So I have a group of scientists who work under me and I manage them. But recently I took a change because I worked there for 7 years and I thought let's challenge myself. Even I have been in the industry for 20 years now. So now I moved into method validation because I want to learn something new. Now I just told you about my journey because I never imagined that I wanted to be here. I just took a path of going into biotechnology and ended up here. So you don't have to decide what you want to become right now. There is always bigger venues open for you. So keep exploring, and you have very good social media. I won't say social media is bad, but how you use it is up to you. At that point of time, I don't think we had those venues open, right? So you have a very good platform. Now coming back to the point of AI, personally I like AI because it helps me write my emails quickly. My day is very busy. I have to reach out to a lot of people, and if I can spend less time in writing an email which AI can write for me easily, I would rather do that. So how you use AI is up to you. It cannot replace your analytical thinking, it cannot replace your innovation, but it can help you innovate quicker. It can help you reach to conclusion quicker. So because me validation मध्ये आहे, because I am in analytical field, we generate a lot of data. So आता लॉन्झाने co-pilotचं license घेतलेलं आहे. So we can use that officially and we can upload our data onto that tool officially. So what we do is we upload our data there. We ask AI to make observations for us, but ultimately the conclusions are made by humans like us. So it cannot replace human, but it can help human to reach to conclusion much easier. Similarly, we are always challenged to do innovative thinking. How can we make our process better? How can we, break bureaucracy and do something which can be done in 10 steps now. We want to do it in 2 steps. So we can always go to AI and pose our question. How can I do this better? It gives us ideas, but the decision is made by us. So what I want to say is AI is controlled by us. We can manipulate AI, but don't let AI manipulate you. Yeah? Don't let AI take over your critical analytical thinking skills. The tool is there to just help you. One of the good examples where we used AI was we wanted to go to Belgium and we wanted to plan our trip on our own. And मला प्लॅनिंग खूप आवडतं म्हणजे अप टू द टी की कुठली ट्रेन पकडायची, कुठल्या कॅफेमध्ये जायचं, नेक्स्ट कुठे बघायचं. सो आय यूज AI टू प्लॅन माय होल ट्रिप अँड इट वॉज अ PDF फाईल फ्रॉम day 1 to day 5. लिटरली 9:05 ची ट्रेन पकडून आम्ही या कॅफेत हे काढणार आहोत, त्यापासून हे म्युझियम बघणार आहोत टू द नेक्स्ट वन. सो अनिकेत वॉज लाईक तू करते. आय डोंट लाईक दॅट काइंड ऑफ प्लॅनिंग बट आय लव्ह प्लॅनिंग. सो AI helped me with that. If I had to do it myself, I think it would have taken me days and days. So it's a very good skill and it's changing our world. But how we shape our future with it is up to us. So I wish you all the best to all of you. And I can see myself sitting there one day. I never got chance to interact with my alumni, and you are getting that platform. So do make well use of it. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. He just message टाकलं तसं डॉक्टर मनोज बगर केम सचिन केम आणि मला व्हॉट्सअपवर स्वप्नीलचा मेसेज आला. मला त्याचा की सर आय वुड लाईक टू मीट अनिकेत. म्हटलं तू कुठे आहेस? म्हटलं नाशिकला आहेस का? म्हणलं नाही, आय मीन अहमदाबाद बट विल लँड अप इन नाशिक ॲट 11:30 AM. कॅच अप. सो ही हॅज कॅच. मला आजची ही alumni मीट अशी छान वाटली की स्पीकर्सही आहेत आणि बाकीचे गोळा झालं. एक अनिकेत शॉर्ट मध्ये बहुतेक त्याचं आपण सेशन ठेवलं नव्हतं एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप मध्ये. यू माइट हॅव अटेंडेड इट. सो ही इज लीडिंग VW बायोटेक. प्रत्येकदा आपण त्याच्याशी बोलूया. आय वुड आस्क डॉक्टर जगदाळे टू वेलकम अँड फेलिसिटेट. you all enjoyed this. There will be a vote of thanks. We will propose it. मला असं मनापासून वाटतंय की ज्या टीमने हे ऑर्गनाईज केलं ना त्यांना थोडा टाळ्या वाजवा. All the volunteers who कोण होतं you know it better.
फक्त असं धरून ठेव. That's all.
Yesterday on a very short notice, we arranged this program. So I'm very thankful to my volunteers, Deore Aniket, Rishikesh, and Sachin Manzari for your cooperation and for making this a good event. And we are very grateful to the speakers as well.
You have that video? That video literally tells me about these 4 people. Okay, if you can put that video now, a 2-minute Obama video. I mean, you give somebody a task and they just did it, right? Because they had some special skills to do it, and they just managed it. They just did it. That's what Obama says. Can you run that? I watch that video at least 10 times a year, just to keep myself going. Because there are lots of disappointments that come our way.
If the system is getting ready, you can propose.
Just learn how to get stuff done. And what I mean by that is, I've seen at every level people who are very good at describing problems, people who are very sophisticated in explaining why something went wrong or why something can't get fixed. But what I'm always looking for is, no matter how small the problem or how big it is, somebody who says, let me take care of that. If you project an attitude of whatever it is that's needed, I can handle it and I can do it, whoever's running that organization will notice, I promise. And which is why I think with young people, you don't always need to be so impatient asking for the plum assignment. A lot of times the best way to get attention is whatever is assigned to you, you are just nailing. You're killing it, because people will notice, oh, that's somebody who can get something done.
On behalf of the entire institution, I, Shami Chetan Pirvankar, extend deepest gratitude to our esteemed guest, Mr. Aniket Chaudhari, Dr. Ravindra Deore, and other dignitaries who joined us today. Also, I thank the faculty and the organizing team. I thank everyone who was involved in today's program. Your powerful insights and pivotal roles of purpose, passion, and patient has left us deeply inspired and equipped with clear vision. We also extend our sincere thanks to our management team, faculty, once again, for their enthusiastic audience, for their participation and support, also the interaction which we had. Today's program is a resounding success. Thank you and have a nice day.